Hi guys, Alan here. But there's the water flow. As you can see, 406 was probably a good choice to put on this. I do have a problem with the tank. I don't know if you can see that, but the level's a little bit out. Now, let's have a look at the tank. Today, we've had a couple of rummy nose. I've gone out the door today. They've gone to a new home. And we had a few little changes, as you can see, with the greenery. I had to move some of the greenery. Sorry about that. I've had to put that in. I've changed up some media as promised. I am trying out the new sintered glass media from Ponguru, Richard. He's actually given me something that I'm going to use in the sump later on. That's not on this tank, that's on another tank. Also, we had this guy who has been very interested in this cave. There's all the shrimp and the ottos. Ottos are a very good fish. Now there's a little grey fish there. I don't know if you can see that. Little green fish there. Originally that was out of the hybrid tank, and so was this one. Now the trouble I've got now is that I believe that the hybrids themselves are changing. I'll show you them in a minute. So I'm going to have to move them into this tank. This tank, again, we're going to move some of the fish out later on. In the summer, UK, we're going to have a little fish room. And in that little fish room, we're going to have 4 tanks of about 100 litres. I'm doing it in litres so anyone can convert it from UK or US gallons. And in that we're going to have some ideas. Now in here I found 2 ottos that were acting strange, and I thought, oh, that's weird, only to find out they were actually pygmy cories. Anyway, the tetras are doing well, all the other fish are doing absolutely fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I want suggestions from you guys on what you would put in 4 tanks, 100 litres. Remember, this is going to be a sole. There's the hybrid tank, look at that. This is going to be a sole shrimp tank when it's finished. I am taking all the backing out, all the filtration out, everything's going. I think it was a big mistake me buying this tank purely for shrimp, because it really is not shrimp safe. There's actually a fish in the back and about 5 shrimp as we speak. So these hybrids will be going into that tank. Also, no one's actually told me why these shrimp, which I believe there's some blue ones and some red ones in here, are changing colour. They're actually going a very dark brown, almost black. If someone can give me some ideas, please, because that's quite important. It's a really weird. I'm only going to do one video this week, and that's purely because I'm getting quite excited about the evolution of what I've got to do with this tank. As I say, with the new media and all that, that's going to be quite exciting as well to find out what we're going to do with that. Also, guys, with this sort of situation that I've got here, the rescue tank, it's still imperative that the parameters sort of collide. And what I mean by that, all the fish in here, even though some are soft dish water, some are hard dish water, some are brackish water, some of this, they all coincide, they all have a sweet spot, which was what I keep them at. And the Amanos, you know, they all have a sweet spot. Now I wouldn't put a beta in here now, or a betta, whatever you want to call it, which is basically a Siamese fighting fish. And even though I have slightly hardish water, I do RO half and half, so therefore that brings that down to a nice little sweet area. I think I've only lost 2 fish in total. One of them I think was just being bullied, which I couldn't really tell at the time, which was a shame, gutted by that. But saying that, I'm going to be using a different media in here. Where is it? I've got a new a new pump that I'm going to be trying out, which is the new Eheim Compact. Now that's going into this tank. It's a tiny little pump, and mainly it's purely because when I had this one I found it very noisy. As you can hear, there's a lot of noise that comes from these tanks. Really doesn't need to be that noisy. And these I wouldn't bother with. They're very cheap, but they're really noisy. If you're, I mean, I'm going to be using them because I have a quantity of them now in the fish room when it's up and running, because it's going to be outside anyway. This guy, look at that. And people have been commenting how misty my tank looks. That is because I am running a different light as well. It's not showing up like this one. I've actually got a Nicrew, I believe it is, on there at the moment, which it's alright, but I'm not blown away by it, so I'm not going to change from the Aqua Sky. I think for this tank, the Aqua Sky, I mean, if we look inside, the Aqua Sky is actually a perfect fit. You still get on there, you don't. They do generate some warmth, which is kind of annoying. I'll tell you the reason why. Because it heats the tank. At one point last week, this hit 27 degrees and we're in midwinter. So keep an eye on that, guys. The tiger lilies, or the these things, the tiger lotus, I think they call them. Fantastic, look at it, huge great leaves. I have been using root tabs for the swords at the back there. As you can see, they're actually starting to come up a little bit. I took some cuttings of that plant there and put it there with some root tabs and only a tiny little bit of my stuff that I put in there, which is TNC light. Now this sump, it's like a brick. Now I've got it running, and all I'm doing at the moment is checking my tap water. There's no fish, plants or anything else in this sump. I'm just circulating the water through it, and it's going to look good because I'm getting 40 ppm out of my tap nitrate, and after circling it through this from one side to the sump to the other side, it's actually dropped 10. Now that's very quick. Now obviously I don't believe it's all down to the brick, so we're going to cycle a tank. We're going to put an ammonia source in. Oh, by the way, guys, if you ever need an ammonia source, that's your stuff there. This is basically ammonium chloride, which is ammonia in water. Dr. Tim's, get that if you want to cycle a tank without fish, which is recommended. I would not recommend putting fish in a cycle tank. It's damn cruel, so don't do it. Also, when you go to the fish shop, they just want to sell you fish and equipment, so basically don't listen to them. Do it yourself. It's easy. Cycling tank's easy. All this mystified stuff about, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. No, you don't. You don't have to do any of that. A tank will naturally cycle. All you need, it's like putting fuel in a tank of, into your car. You put your fuel in, you drive it. When it runs out, it stops working. Similar, exact same as with a cycle on a tank. So what you need is an ammonia source. Do not use fish food or dead shrimp or any of that, because all that'll do is lower your quality of your water anyway. Look at that. It's weird. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful, tiny little thing it is, tiny. I do love a Marlow. Look at them, all busy going to work. And it's strange because someone told me that these wouldn't breed. However, I started off with 6. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 there now. So that's really weird. Yeah, so I'm going to stick up some pictures on this video of what I class community fish. Now I found these on YouTube and I found these images elsewhere, but I concur with the majority of that. So if you ever, oh, I've got a bit of algae coming, that's unusual. I do concur with everything that's on this, so it might give you an idea of what to run. But anyway, research, and you'll never go wrong with that, especially like with plants and stuff like that as well. If you need a plant that's going to get rid of mass quantities of nitrate, then these tigers, I mean, look at the size of the plant, look at the leaf on it, and that all absorb nutrients. That'll take lots of it out, and it's a balancing act. When you have an aquarium, you balance the two together. It's like this, I've got this super clean water in here purely because shrimp demand it, but just because water's clean, it doesn't mean to say it's good for the fish, so bear that in mind as well. Okay guys, you have a good one, see you soon.